with the Legal Answer, our Studio 10 segment brought to you by the Sinas Dramis Law Firm with personal injury attorneys Steve Sinas and Katie Tucker. Steve is joining us today. How are you this afternoon?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. And Steve, I hate to say it, but some of us could start seeing snow on the road at any time here in Michigan, which means it's about that time of year when semi-trucks and other commercial vehicles are making their way through sometimes pretty treacherous conditions. So let's start talking about speed limits. Is it always legal in Michigan for a semi-truck to drive the speed limit?
Well, no. There's the speed limit, and then there's also the federal motor carrier regulations that govern how semi-trucks drive through the state of Michigan. And so those can apply to semi-trucks. And ultimately, a semi-truck driver has to be driving at a speed that's reasonable and safe for the conditions. So if it's snowing or sleeting, they need to slow down. And under the federal motor carrier regulations, in many instances, they need to drop down to 55 miles an hour. So there are specific rules that apply, and it's never that they can just keep trucking along, so to speak, at 70 miles an hour.
Okay, well, that's very good to know. Now, also on that same topic, does Michigan have any special laws at all regarding snow or ice falling from a vehicle onto the road?
Yes, and so this applies to truck drivers, but it also applies to all of us. So if you get in your car and it's really cold outside, and you just don't want to knock off that snow, and you're just thinking, I'm going to drive down the road and it's going to fly off, well, you can get ticketed for that. So you need to make sure that your vehicle has the snow and ice off your vehicle, and if it flew off and hit somebody or hit their vehicle, you could be held liable in certain situations.
Okay, very, very important to know, and sometimes taking those extra 5 to 10 minutes in the morning just to make sure all that snow is off the car can really help save someone's life after that, actually.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a legal thing to do, too.
That's right.
Well, now, are there any special federal laws regarding bad weather in semi-trucks?
Yeah, as I alluded to, there's the federal motor carrier regulations, which are federal laws, but Michigan has adopted those, and so it applies to interstate trucking companies and their trucks that travel through Michigan. And then there are other ways in which Michigan's laws basically apply to trucks that are just traveling in the state of Michigan. So there are special rules that apply to trucks, and that's why when you're in a truck accident, you need to make sure that you look into your legal rights and pursue the liability theories based on whatever rules or regulations may apply.
This weather could come at any day, at any time now, but we're just scratching the surface here. But if we do find ourselves in one of these types of car accidents, what's the first thing that we should do? If
you have a crash involving ice and snow, you need to get all the facts of the crash, because the other side may argue that the weather conditions suddenly became adverse and things were out of their control. They may blame other drivers. The police may have their investigation, but perhaps they don't have all the facts. So you need to act early because you want to make sure you get all the evidence. So if you're injured, you need to worry about your recovery and focus on that, but it is important to pursue your legal rights early. So we encourage people to retain counsel. In many cases, we have to get our own accident investigators to the scene to make sure they get the evidence as well, talk to witnesses. There's data that you can get from vehicles. So ice and snow cases are challenged often by the defendants, and so it's really important to make sure you have a strategy and that you pursue your legal rights early on. Yeah, that's great. And the first part of that strategy would be contacting you guys as well. So tell us, how can we do that? Well, sinasdramis.com is our website. We have a lot of information. Our contact information is on the site. So if people have any questions or they want to reach out to us, they can do so through that website. Okay. Well, I hate to say, we would hope we wouldn't need you, but it's glad to know that, hey, if we are in one of these circumstances, it's good to know that you're here for us on our side. And of course, we have all that information for you at WILX.com. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.